alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. So strap yourselves in for the weekly live show that brings you toy news, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions. Reveals, releases, thoughts, and maybe dreams. So prepare yourselves for the Geek Week in Review. Live.
Oh, hello. Hello. Welcome back to the Geek Week with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. This is episode 165, I think. I double question that as we were loading up. But yeah, episode 165, and we're talking about D23 this week, Disney's convention, where they obviously drop a load of trailers, talk about a lot of stuff that's coming out. We were going to do this as a plus episode, weren't we? But we kind of went to another. It was a hot week, whatever, and we were like, nah, let's just put it in for Sunday. So we're talking about it a little bit later than it aired, but I think that kind of gives us a little bit of spoiler territory, and things have been out for a little while now, so we can't kind of get told off for giving anything away. If you're watching live, then of course, as always, please join in with the chat. Drop some comments as we're talking. Let me know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. What your feelings are, what you picked up, what you're looking forward to picking up, etc., etc. We go out across a bunch of different channels, so we'll do our best to streamline all the comments and keep the conversation going. And if you're watching us on catch up, like a lot of you do, Mr. Sorrell, what is it they should put in the chat?
Hashtag catch up. Woo.
There we go. How's your week been anyway, Sorrell? Good?
Yeah, good. Tiring. As you can see behind me, I'm having a little bit of a sort through. One of the cubbyholes is completely empty. Nice. I'm having a little sort out. I'm having a little tinker around with everything.
Same as me. Look, I can actually see to the bottom of my cabinets now. I've got like a little pile, but I've moved some figures around as well. Some of my bigger figures, so you can't quite see it. But I've got like all my Spider-Man figures, like all my 1/6 scale Spider-Man figures. Got some new ones up there as well. But yeah. So having a bit of a tidy up, So it's been a good week though. It's been an interesting week. It's kind of lots going on, isn't there? A couple of things dropped. Did you watch all of D23, or did you just kind of dip in and out?
I watched chunks of stuff that appeared late. Obviously, it was in California, so the time difference was insane. So it was normally like I waited until like Saturday to get Friday's news and vice versa. I watch Tim Tracker. He's a good one to follow for Orlando news and vlogs. He was out there along with Paging Mr. Morrow. He was out there.
Okay.
And the Daily Woo. They're all my favorite. Yeah, because the three of them together actually caused a massive blockage and like carnage together. Because they've all got ridiculous following, and they're all big, obviously, in the Disney scene. They're like the three of the biggest in the Disney scene. And they all flew out from Orlando to California, and literally there was something going on a stage, and then fans started going mental at the back of the room, taking photos with them. That they like, who's at the back of the room that's more important right now? And the guys actually went down and actually had a photo with them. I forgot who it was. It was a celebrity of some description. And they had a photo taken with them. But yeah, they were causing a bit of carnage everywhere they went.
Nice. Quick shout out. Shelley in the chat said Ordinary
Adventures. They're good as well.
A good vlog. So there we go. There's some good ones. Yeah, I caught quite a bit of it because it was pretty insane. There was a lot going on. Which I always find it a bit not an afterburn as such, but you've got San Diego Comic-Con, and then very soon afterwards you have D23. So you kind of think to yourself, especially with properties like kind of Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that, like what is it that they're going to announce? What is it they're going to go through that we haven't already had? So, but they brought an A game, didn't they? They really did bring an A game. They did. Before we kind of get into it too much, let's talk about a couple of other things that's been going on. Fortnite has got X-Men back, hasn't it?
They're having a massive Marvel thing at the minute. That was all announced at D23.
Yes.
All that stuff. The Absolute Doom, is it called?
Yes.
I've actually uninstalled Fortnite at the moment. I've not played it in ages.
No. See, I got really into it with the Marvel story arc, which was like series or season
God,
4 or
ages
5 or
ago.
something, wasn't it? It was a long time ago, easily 3 or 4 years ago, and that was when me and my eldest son really started playing together, and I really got heavy into it. And then it was followed up by the Mandalorian season, and so it kind of kept me hooked for a little while, and that kind of dropped off. And I haven't played it in a long time. And I always said to my son, I was like, I'll get back into it if they bring Marvel back. And they've brought Marvel back, so I kind of need to give it another shot now. I'd, pull out some of the old Marvel skins and run around and cause havoc. But they got some good ones, haven't they? Got like Emma Frost is in there.
Yeah, and she's got a diamond alternative skin as
Yes.
well, which is awesome.
Yeah, and what I thought was really, and what? Sorry,
Peelverine.
yes,
Peely
yeah.
Wolverine.
So Peely the banana as Wolverine.
love
But
Peely.
Emma Frost has also got a Hellfire Dance emote, hasn't she? Which
Oh
is,
wow, I haven't seen that.
yeah. I mean, it's not. I don't know how kind of comic book accurate it is, but there's actually an emote called the Hellfire Gala Dance or Hellfire Gala something. But they're making good reference to the comic books, which is a plus. Really. So there's that, of course. Trailer wise as well, we had a couple of good trailers drop outside of D23. My favorite, I think, is Craven.
Really?
Yeah.
That trailer made me not want to see it even more.
Not even with the little cameos.
The Rhino.
He looks just like the figure.
No,
He looks just like the figure. It is
he looks
basically
like a block.
Yeah, he does. But when I saw it, I was kind of like, are Sony actually listening here? Because if you look at the comic book costume, it is literally a big guy in like a rubber rhino costume. And from what you see in the trailer, it's pretty much there. And it just piqued my interest. I watched the trailer because I was like, okay, it's another trailer. We'll see how it goes. But then you see Craven in the comic book accurate kind of lion fur and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then you see Rhino, which I thought was quite cool. But interestingly, I read an article earlier in the week. I don't know if you know this, but supposedly there's an agreement between Sony and Marvel that if Sony use any of the villains, the Spider-Man villains, in their movies, Marvel then can't use them.
Yeah.
Were you aware of this one?
I saw that, and then I also saw that Sony have more or less announced they're making a film every year for the next however many years. So they're just basically going to hog the characters now. So
they're basically leaving the MCU Spider-Man to fight kind of nobodies, like it's so Craven has Rhino and another big Spider-Man villain in it.
They have Vulture, they have Venom.
Yep, they have Morbius, they have who's the other one that they've got? There's another one that they've used, but they've basically used a big bunch of the Spider-Man villains. So there's a lot of talk about whether that's going to lead us to like a clone saga storyline with Marvel. So that would be quite fun because then we get like.
I think they'll just literally I think before long they'll leave Peter Parker alone. They'll move on to Morales or Gwen, or they'll just move on to another Spider in the universe, because then they can say we're not using Peter Parker's version of Venom, we're using this version of Venom. There's so many variants that could get away with it, I think.
Yeah. I am curious as to what's going to happen with the whole symbiote thing, because they kind of, from the Venom trailer, it looks like they're kind of retconning that, like, and kind of pulling it back a little bit. Whereas in, what was it, in Spider-Man, I think we saw Venom and the symbiote and everything. So I don't know.
I think this Venom film is the final one anyway, and I think they're wrapping it up, to be honest. I don't think they're going to try and keep that going anymore. I think they will literally end it this time, because it sounds very much, obviously it's edited that way, but it sounds very much like in the trailer that more or less Eddie and Venom are saying goodbye. I think Venom's going to sacrifice himself for Eddie and separate from him to accept his fate.
I'm kind of hoping that it's something really bonkers, and it will be a case of that the Sony Tom Hardy Venom Eddie Brock storyline is coming apart. Yeah. And the symbiote's now in the MCU, and it's then going to attach with the MCU Eddie Brock, and we're going to get that comic book accurate Venom.
Do you know what I thought?
What?
Post-credit scene, you're going to see Venom disappear at the end of the movie. You think he's dead, he's gone off into space with that big monster thing, and it's left Earth and we're all safe. he's then going to somehow appear, he's going to wake up or something, or appear, his Venom, the symbiote, in the animated universe. I'm like, oh, I'm animated now.
Oh, okay.
And then it'll be a part of the Into the Spider-Verse franchise with that voice that they do. And Tom Hardy may continue as the voice of Venom and do the animated one.
Yeah, okay.
That could be a cool way of... Because obviously they've done cameos with other Spider-Men from different areas and multiverses and in that film. So it would just make absolute sense for Venom to appear as a ally enemy to Peter Parker in that next movie.
I would really like somehow for them to bring justice to the Topher Grace Venom as well. like you know how they're on a bit of a kick at the moment of kind of picking up on older characters and giving them that would be very satisfying for me, because I just remember the feeling of Spider-Man 3 when it was like, oh, it's going to have Venom and this is amazing, and then it was just a bitter underwhelming. But who knows? Anyway, on to D23. But actually, before we do you get any pickups? Anything that you got this week?
Nothing.
No. You know what I didn't? I unboxed my Carnage. I did him literally straight away after last week's show. Very, very cool Marvel Legends figure. Very, very cool indeed. Well worth picking up if you're a Marvel Legends collector or a fan of symbiotes or whatever. This is, top tier Marvel Legends in my opinion. A lot of fun. Comes with loads of accessories as well, like all these like bendy bits and stuff. But yeah, it's all good. Oh look,
I'm just
ironic. There he is. That.
I was going to say, over the last 5 or 6 months, I've not been collecting or buying much because I'm saving up for Orlando. We're obviously 2 weeks out now to when I go to Orlando. Yeah, so I'll be spending stupid money out there and bringing... Because obviously, I was like, I'm going through Smith's recently, and I'm like, what's the point? I'm going to America, which is going to be cheaper in dollars because it works out cheaper.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at prices online, like my daughter's like, I want to get the Monster High dolls. Walmart have them in for $13 on sale. We have them for 30 and they're like 6 months old now. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see the point. So we're saving all this cash for that. So just let people know that are listening from my channel. My channel will go back to normal very soon when I come back from Florida and I have cash again.
Little public service announcement as well for anyone that is going to Florida. Do not buy your figures in the park or around the parks. Go to the Walmarts out by your hotels, by your Airbnbs, wherever it is you're staying. Go to the Walmarts, the Targets, all that kind of stuff, because the run-of-the-mill Florida supermarkets and superstores are very well priced, whereas you'll go into the park and you will pay absolute top dollar for a figure that you could get somewhere else for near to nothing. Do not make that mistake.
Yeah, unless it's a park exclusive item. 9 times out of 10, all the toys that are in, especially Universal, like they're all available at Walmart, Target, all your big shops. But now I'm just looking forward to going to, so I'm going to be able to hit up like Box Lunch and all these random little Hot Topics and crazy little shops like that.
That will be cool. Another little thing for community. Did you see Comics and Cocktails this week are doing an Indiana Jones sale?
I'm not surprised because that line is dead.
It is very dead, isn't it? But they are doing and this will get you up to 50% off on the Adventure series, are they called? Okay. And with every order, you get a free retro card figure. So you buy I think the cheapest one that they've got is $9.99, but for $9.99, it's one of the side characters as well. I can't remember which one. It's one of the women, so it's not it's not like one of the Indiana Jones main character, but it's you're $9.99. Bearing in mind that includes your shipping and everything, because that's how Comics and Cocktails run. But you would get the figure, 6-inch figure, and you'd get a free random mystery retro card figure. So not a bad deal to be had. But they do their spontaneous kind of 1 week deals. Have you ever seen those? Like 1 week only, and it could be absolutely anything in their store. But this particular one that was running from, I think it went live Saturday. I think it went live Friday or Saturday. And it's running for a week. So basically, there is a terms and conditions in regards to one free figure per household per order, and one order per household, and that kind of stuff. Because otherwise, you could go on there and essentially buy 5 figures and get five retro figures for free. But yeah, but that's out there. So anyone that is into the Indiana Jones figures, that's out there, which I think is quite useful, because even though the line has kind of died a little bit, there were some good kind of builder figure things going on with it. So you had like the skull from Temple of Doom, you had the Grail Table from the Last Crusade, all that kind of stuff. So if you had just picked up random figures and you were putting off spending 25-27 pounds on a subpar figure, then you can pick it up for a discounted rate and get a bonus retro figure as well. Who knows? I might buy a shirtless Indy.
I may have to buy another Indy. I did sell my Indy to Mick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mick
it's one line I've not been able to part with, because I've not got all of the characters. I've got the main Indiana Jones, and I'm really frustrated that we never got the Crystal Skull version.
Oh, you can get the Indy that's just got the brown shirt on, can't you? With the brown khaki box.
Yep.
I'm wondering if someone like RDG Customs might have a Brendan Fraser head. Because that would make an instant mummy figure, wouldn't it? It would make an instant version of him to go with the NECA mummy. Because the NECA mummy be slightly taller, so it'd look good, monster wise.
There we go.
That could be good.
RDJ, if you're listening, get us a Brendan Fraser head. Brendan Fraser.
I think that's a good shout, because it's more or less the same costume, isn't it? It's
very good shout, actually. Very, very good shout. I must give RDJ a little bit of a shout out. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, but he sent me over some little accessory pieces which are quite cool, from the Deadpool Wolverine.
They're cool.
So yeah, but they look really cool on the
Did
figure.
they just slide over the top of the hands then? Because I assumed it was like on. I assumed it would come on a hand.
No,
that's cool.
And they're really flexible as well. They're really, really cool, really, really well made. I don't know if I think they're 3D printed, but I don't know what it is, because there's flex in them. Yeah. And he sent me over the little skull as well, the little skull. But this is cool because even if you're not going to use it as a Wolverine skull, it's a 1/6 scale.
That's from Scorpion.
Skull and spine.
That's the Mortal Kombat Scorpion one.
It is, right? It is.
Definitely.
The Channing Tatum head.
That's cool.
So I painted that up, and I'm actually quite pleased with how it worked out. But this is everywhere. This particular head sculpt. So many people have got this and doing some amazing customs with it and all kinds of stuff. Annoyingly, I sold my original, like my Caliban Wave Gambit, and just kept the animated version in my collection, because never in a million years did I think, oh, Channing Tatum's going to be Gambit and he's going to wear a comic book accurate costume. So
recently I got out of my bin in the garage. I did just pull out my MCU Electra, my Gambit with the brown cloak and stuff. I picked up and I pulled out my I've got Blade on my shelf behind me. I've got Blade as well. And I was thinking of finding someone that could do heads for them. And I thought, because we got the new Wolverine Deadpool figures coming out, how cool would it be to do that little lineup? Yep,
that's exactly what I'm going to do. Well, if you want to get rid of that Gambit figure, let me know, because I've got a head on it. He also sent me over Headpool.
Nice.
Which is very cool. Which is very similar.
Is that the select one?
No, this is Marvel Legends scale, but this pretty much looks like the one that we're getting from Marvel Legends. It does come with a little propeller that goes in the top. But yeah, so there's that. And one other little thing that he sent over for me, and you'll appreciate this being a Disney fan, but that little spider bot.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
So that's very cool. But I don't know whether it's based off of the TV show or whether this is based off of that Disneyland Paris ride. But
either or. The spider bot was for the kids show, wasn't it, originally? Because I had the little toy one.
Yeah, originally. But when I see that
in the movie, obviously with Peter having Stark tech in the MCU, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it on the big screen.
We're gonna see,
because then they could just re-release the MCU one and RCs and stuff.
Yeah, we're going to see it at some point. But yeah, do check out RDJ Custom Creations over on Instagram. Does a whole bunch of really, really awesome head sculpts and accessories and stuff. And there's a lot of talented people out there, but RDJ I've known for years now, years and years, and never ever failed to disappoint. So yeah.
Yeah, I've got to admit the new Deadpool Wolverine movie has definitely helped reignite a bit of Marvel in me. I can't lie, and obviously with the Stranger Tales wave coming out, that's again we're like, oh, I'm finally getting the Dracula I've been begging for years. So if I don't get that, then I'll look like a hypocrite.
Yeah, so... look, you don't like Dracula, Sorrell. What are you talking about? You're not a Dracula fan. No. Yeah, it is definitely given Marvel a boost. I think for the first time in a long time, Marvel is kind of back on track.
Well, if we can segue nicely now into D23, did you see how much of Deadpool they used at that event?
Lots.
Did you see when he basically did the Parks panel? Did you see that bit?
Is that the bit where they did the Like a Prayer song?
Yeah, where he did like a slideshow as well with all the pictures and
yeah.
So like he drew like the, for people that don't know, it's that he was taking the mick out of the Disney parks when he said like the Yeti doesn't work. That's based on Animal Kingdom because the Yeti's been broken for years and they've just got a strobe light over it to make it look like he's doing something. Yeah. So that joke was for that. There was the whole bit about they did a picture of the dragon from the parade on fire because it set on fire about a year ago.
Yeah.
He basically was just pointing out all of Disney's flaws. So it was cool to see Disney poking fun at themselves. That was quite good.
Yeah. No, that was good. And then during that bit, there was the whole somebody from like American Idol came out and sung Like a Prayer, and he was dancing around. And then Lady Deadpool came out, and yeah, it was just this big. But it was good. I like that he's kind of been welcomed in. But in all fairness, with the highest rating R-rated movie of all time, highest grossing, sorry, and they've already surpassed the 1 billion, or 1.3 billion, or whatever it is now, like mark, like it's made some serious movements.
Disneyland Paris proved the other day that he doesn't just need to be in the Hollywood park, like he doesn't need to just be in the like movies parks.
No,
there was a load of photos of him yesterday wearing a Mouseketeers Mickey Mouse, with the strap with the ears.
Brilliant.
He was wearing one of them, and he was skipping down Main Street with a churro in his hand, and just like waving at guests. So like that's what I mean. That is fourth wall. That is Deadpool to a T. Yeah. And that is perfect.
I must admit, I did think when I saw, because for anyone that's unfamiliar, you got Avengers Campus at Disneyland Paris. It's not called Disneyland Paris anymore, is it? It's Disneyland Park. Disney World is over in Orlando, and Disneyland is in Paris. It's all very confusing. It's Disneyland Paris, or Euro Disney if you're really old. But yeah, so they've got Wolverine and Deadpool in the park. And I did wonder whether they were going to use that as an opportunity to break the fourth wall and have him go into the other lands, because Disney are very hot on not having characters from one place being seen in another place, hence all the underground tunnels and that kind of stuff. Like you only see the characters, like you wouldn't see Jack Sparrow on Avengers Campus. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. But to have Deadpool kind of crossing over that fourth wall and being in other places is really cool. And I think they'll milk this for a long time. I think you'll see him in different costumes and all sorts. But I did read an article that there was lots of complaints about Wolverine and Deadpool being featured, mainly because you had guests that weren't old enough to see the film, see these characters in the park, and then wanted to go and watch the film. And it's an R-rated film, so they couldn't. And I was like, come on, we are really moaning.
They're from the comic books, though. They can read comic books because they're PG-13.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. Like, my 5-year-old son knows who Deadpool is. And if you met him in the park, he'd be like, this is amazing. I've met Deadpool. He wouldn't then go, I want to watch that movie. Like, well, he might, but he's not going to.
My daughter's aware who Freddy Krueger is. She's never seen the movie, but she knows his name.
there we go.
You know what I mean? The kids cling on to names and characters, but they have no clue what they're about. She knows who Pennywise and Chucky is, but she's never once watched the films.
No. I am my eldest daughter, who's 13 now, but she was 11 when we went over to Disneyland Paris. No, it's not Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Park. Gonna get sued by Disney and like cancel. But yeah, she's about 11 or 12 when we went over there. It was when my wife's team stage school performed there and stuff. And I don't know if I told you, but there was the Loki and Thor bit with the hammer, and we were just in the right place at the right time to be at the front of that circle. And then Loki and Thor kind of called people out of the audience, and I kind of nudged her forward. And so she was kind of like Loki's like person trying to get the hammer, and she was mortified, loved it, but was kind of mortified. And I'm like, I'm just living my dreams through you here. Like you can do this. They're not going to let a 40-year-old man go up and pretend to pick up this hammer. So you do that. You see if you're worthy. But I love it. I love the interaction of the characters at Disneyland. Be it Paris or be it Orlando.
I like how you say that, but I would be the front of the queue.
Yeah.
I was the 35-year-old guy at the front of the Disney store queue, pushing the kids that way, going, "It's mine. I'm opening it. It's mine. Give me the giant key."
Yeah. I'm waiting all my life for this. Give me that key. But no, I that's the nice thing about Disney, is that it's kind of ageless, isn't it? You can be there and you can do that stuff, and yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna have to go back. I think I'll probably get back to Paris before I get back to Orlando, though, just because it's a little bit easier. I can jump on a train.
To be fair, you want to get back to Paris because Florida's going to be a shell of a place for a while, because all the announcements they made at D23, that thing is going to be gutted.
Yeah.
The fact that they're building an expansion for Cars Land, more or less, they're basically building the same one that's at Disneyland in California.
Yeah.
It's basically that, because it fits the aesthetic of Big Thunder Mountain, so it'll match all the rockery, and they'll basically make the big cars ride from California. So that's being built, but that is across the rivers of America. So all that river where the big steamboat is will be gutted out and be boarded up for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you've got the entire... they're doing the Villains expansion around the back of Haunted Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all going to be boarded up for a long time. Then you've got all the expansions to Animal Kingdom at the same time.
Yep.
And I would say MGM, that Hollywood Studios now.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of borders. So so Paris is your best bet for a while.
Yeah, I think the problem is as well is that, like, I felt this. We were fortunate enough to go to Orlando literally a year apart. So we went in 2018 and then we went in 2017 and 2018. I don't know, I can't remember, but we went literally 2 years, almost corresponding years. And when we went there the first time, there was a lot of the Jurassic Park stuff or Jurassic World stuff was boarded up. And I just remember thinking at the time, I was like, this is like, for a lot of people, this is a once in a lifetime, once in every 10 years kind of trip. And you get there and there's a huge part that's boarded up. And for a long time, it's not kind of, it's boarded up, but if we come back later in the week, it'll be okay. It's like that's shut off. And it really does, like, it does have a bit of a, it's a shame. So I just booked to go back again the following year to make sure that we saw it. It was good. Shelley said, "How many kids do you have, JT? Sounds like you're competing with the Von Trapp family." I have 4 that I know about. I have 4 that live with me. The other 17, I don't know. No, I got 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls.
He lines them up, makes them all sing good night and stuff like that.
I do. We do. Like, good night, John boy. It is. No, 2 boys and 2 girls for my sins. That's why my beard is white. It used to be nice dark color, and now it's white. But yeah. So let's talk D23 then. How should we go through this? There's so much. Do we want to?
I was just gonna jump all over the place, just natter, because there's no real order of doing this, is there?
Okay.
Have you got a list? I can see you looking down. Have you got a little list there?
I'll tell you what. I will bring in my first one, Daredevil Born Again. The reason I mentioned that is because they had a big display part for that as well, didn't they?
They showed footage as well at the event, but they didn't share it, obviously. But people got to see Kingpin fighting Daredevil.
Yeah.
And what's he called as Punisher? Apparently was in the thing as well.
Yep. So you've got John Bereth. I can never pronounce his name properly. But you got Punisher back. You've got the trio from Netflix, Daredevil.
So I'm really intrigued as to how they're going to do this, because obviously we've already had Punisher, we've already had Daredevil with Punisher in it. with Kingpin, and now we've had a bit of MCU Kingpin and Daredevil. I'm intrigued as how they're going to pull Punisher back into it. Is it just going to be like they've never met? Are they going to have history? Are we pretending all that never happened? I'm really intrigued now. Or is the Netflix stuff now canon? I don't know.
Well, it's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
I know. I'm just wondering whether they're classing it as canon.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be there because let's take Punisher for example. Like Daredevil had 3 seasons and obviously was in She-Hulk and all sorts of stuff. Punisher was in Daredevil and then had 2 seasons, I think it was.
Season of his own thing, yeah. Because we've already had. Because if you think about it from Netflix, we already had the season where. Because when I think of Daredevil and Punisher together, I think of that comic book where where he basically ties him up on the rooftop and threatens to shoot him, and we basically already had those scenes where he basically assassinates someone in front of Daredevil, and they kind of become frenemies by the end of it. So we've already had that once before. So it's like, what other storyline can we do that's famous? That's like, you know what I mean?
I don't know whether they're gonna there's an opportunity for them to create something new, and I think the title gives away a lot of what they're planning with the whole Born Again. Now, Born Again is a comic book run. It is a Daredevil story arc called Born Again. But I think that the term Born Again gives opportunity to kind of, the Born Again into the MCU. So I don't think they'll go down origin stories. I don't think they'll kind of reinvent the wheel. They have a very well-established backstory. And, for Disney, they're buying 3 seasons of Daredevil, 1 season of Defenders, 1 or 2 seasons of Punisher. Like all of this produced high quality television with these characters. To try to reinvent all that and start it all again just seems like a huge waste of money when they could just take these established characters and just create something new.
There's going to be more of a thing of, we need Daredevil needs Punisher to fight Kingpin.
Yeah, or it might be that Punisher is like almost like a side quest story. Do you know what I mean? Like we're going to see a Punisher storyline worked in within the Daredevil Punisher, the Daredevil story arc, and then somehow they cross over. Because the rumor has it that Daredevil and Kingpin are going to have to combine forces to fight a bigger threat. So they're going to be kind of not on the same side as such, but doing something together to combat somebody else.
Which is interesting because in the Marvel comics, in New York City, there's no one really bigger than Kingpin. He's the Kingpin.
No, exactly.
So I'm interested to see what that is.
One, yeah.
It's got to be street. It can't be alien or anything. It's got to be street level.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what character they're going to throw at us with that.
Yeah. But I think what made the Daredevil series or let's call it the Netflix bundle. Yeah. I think what made them so successful was that it took that superhero down to street level. Yeah. And when you read the comic books, there are so many characters that are street level. Like even Spider-Man, I always classed as a street level superhero. All the things that he's doing in the MCU now were like the big story arcs and the crossover story arcs. We've not seen the core Spider-Man story telling. No, and I think that having Daredevil, Punisher, and all of there's a whole like rogues gallery of villains and characters that they could put on that street level thing for Daredevil. So yeah, I'm think
also wondering if we're going to have little cameos from other characters as well in this, just to build out the fact that New York is full of these, full of these characters.
Yeah,
I wonder if we're going to like, it won't be anything major, but just like make a reference to that Kate Bishop and Hawkeye are still kicking about. Shield's on the west coast now. Like just little references like that, or like even pass a coffee shop and have Peter Parker sat there. You know what I mean? That could be awesome. Or MJ even, or the kid. You know what I mean? I forgot his name.
Ned.
Ned. Yeah, they could have something like that just to sort of like flesh out the world as these people are all interlinked.
Yeah, I think that could work really well. I think that the fact that we saw Matt Murdock in She-Hulk and we saw him in Spider-Man, it has to cross over with that somehow, and not for the sake of just a gratuitous. That's it. I can't even say my words tonight. Cameo, but just like you say, to link in those storylines. Like these guys are all on the ground of New York and other cities and stuff. So we've got to have something.
Because for me, it never makes sense if there's like such a big threat. Where's Peter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's about somewhere. Surely he's got a radio scanner. He would be aware that Kingpin's blowing half the city up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's got to be, for me, there's got to be little references to things like that.
Yeah. The one interesting sort of in closing on Daredevil, but the one thing that I'm interested about is that the Netflix series all built towards the Defenders and kind of concluded with this Defenders, Elektra, all that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering whether this continues it.
No.
Okay.
Marvel Knights. Moon Knight, Punisher, Daredevil, Hawkeye could be in there, Kate Bishop could be in there. We've got a bunch of street level characters that are all in New York right now that could easily build a Marvel Knights team. Very easily. Marvel
Knights would be really good. I hope they don't revisit Defenders, but I hope that Luke Cage, Danny Rand, like all of those characters are still referenced. I hope that they're not kind of completely wiped, because we've already got back 6 characters from that Netflix kind of run, but there are so many other really cool ones.
Yeah, because it could just be a quick, easy way to introduce like a Ghost Rider, because then you could throw him in as a part of that, you know what I mean, or a Cloak and Dagger. It would be just an easy way to do it. Bring back Shang-Chi for a bit, you know what I mean? He's done no really since his film.
Yeah.
As I've said it from the beginning, I think Blade would work better as a Marvel TV than a film at this day and age. I think if you add into the New York scene hunting vampires or something, ground it in a bit of reality on like a street level stuff, I think that'd be good. And then again, you could tie in into.
But then they did try a Blade TV show, didn't they?
It was good.
Yeah, but it wasn't well received. That's the problem. And I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. But I'd love to see Marvel Knights. I think that'd be a really good move. I really do.
I've said it for years. Again, I just want a television series of Matt Murdock as the lawyer of like characters. I don't want him always doing the whole flying through the night, beating up people like Batman.
Yeah,
because half of the comic book of Daredevil was always the other stuff. It was always in the courtrooms. That was the whole point of his comic. So I would love to see like the trial of Peter Parker, or you know what I mean, like a 4-part miniseries.
Yeah.
Or like where he's trying to get he's trying to help the Punisher.
Yeah.
The Punisher's pulled a favor and hired Matt Murdock as his lawyer. So like that would be awesome, and make it a bit CSI-y. That'd be neat.
That'd be pretty cool. Speaking of kind of 4-parters and stuff, what I was surprised about with Disney Marvel at D23 is they didn't announce what the Halloween special was going to be.
Agatha.
Is that going to be the Halloween special?
She's the Halloween thing this year. Yeah, they've said that over the Halloween spooky season, we'll have the entire season of Agatha.
But does that mean we're getting another? Because the way they penned it was that we were going to get like another Werewolf by Night Halloween special.
I don't know. The wording they kind of used was like this spooky season where we're bringing the Witch's Road to life, and then they did that whole spooky song and.
Yeah. So speaking of which, that was another big thing, wasn't it, with Agatha? Like she came out with her Coven of Witches, and they sung the Witch's Road song and cackled and all the rest of it. That's pretty cool.
Do you know what? I'm really looking forward to that series. I don't think many people are, but I am.
No, I am as well. Only because as well, I think it'll be a good series. I think it will be interesting to watch. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think it will be a themed Marvel. It'll be something people watch of Marvel at Halloween because of what it is. But there has to be a bigger game at play. It has to tie in somewhere else, because they've not put all of this effort into. They've not put all this effort into Agatha, and it being a standalone series, without there being something extra, without it going on to something else. Because okay, she was a good character in WandaVision, but WandaVision now is years old, and we've moved on since then. We've had spin-offs, we've had extensions of storylines. We still haven't seen where White Vision is, the Vision alternative, but we've kind of moved on. And Agatha could have been left in WandaVision. That character could have seen the end of the story there, but they didn't, and instead they've kind of given us a spin-off series. So I'm really curious as to what that's gonna build into? How it's going to conclude? Is it part of something bigger? Is it build into something bigger? Or is it? Yeah, I don't know. But it's got to be something. I was just saying, I think that Agatha has to be something bigger. There has to be some kind of tie-in. Because she could have just been left at WandaVision. Like, no one would have complained if we'd never saw her again. You know what I mean? Like,
Agatha all along.
Yeah.
Been telling us for a long time.
Yeah.
I think they're playing it stupid with it. I genuinely think, because in the comics, she's one of the most all-powerful witches on the planet.
Yeah.
So, and they've got a really good actress playing her. She can sing, which is awesome. So you're getting that Hocus Pocus vibe from it straight away. That whole Bette Midler kind of feel.
Yeah.
I definitely feel Disney are pushing that because of the fact that they know that every year they can crank that song out now in the parks, and that's just an instant win for them. And no, I think there's going to be a lot more to it. Yeah.
I mean, it's also a really good opportunity for them to go down and we said this previously about the paranormal side of Marvel and the kind of more horror side of Marvel. But this is a good opportunity for them to branch into that direction, because they can use Agatha as the jumping off point to go more into that dark arts and the paranormal, the monsters, the spooky side of Marvel. So maybe it's that. Maybe that's what Agatha's all about. It's that kind of bridge over to that side of Marvel.
So, just to give you a little nugget of information that I found earlier, because I knew we were going to talk about Agatha. So, the Witch's Road is a place where only sorcerers and witches can step.
Yep.
So they have to be Salem-born witches or a sorcerer supreme to be able to step on that plane.
Yep.
Also, it is where it's the Dominion of Magica and the home of the Scarlet Queen.
Yep.
Okay, we already know that Scarlet Witch has kind of appeared in the trailer, hasn't she? A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to see Scarlet Queen instead of Scarlet Witch, like the undead version of her or something. It'll be something like it's Agatha's worst fear of Scarlet coming back. You know what I mean? There'll be some cheesy thing, and she'll overcome it and get her powers back. But I'm wondering whether this could be an alternate way of bringing in like Magica, magic.
Yep.
Because imagine if she just rocked up with the sword and the horns and everything on the Witch's Road. That'd be amazing.
It would be very cool.
Time displaced X-Men.
Well, the thing is now that Fox and Disney's bought Fox, like X-Men are just dropping in. It's not like they're, like even Captain America: Brave New World, they're getting adamantium from the Celestial. Like that's where adamantium's going to come from. So it's kind of like they're bringing in the Marvel X-Men mutant side of it through various projects. So magic could be a cool one. Like, it'd be a very cool one to introduce.
If not, I just hope they bring like Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night into it somehow.
Yeah,
because they transported to somewhere at the end of that last special. If this is the special for this year, I'd love to see it tie in somehow.
Yeah, that would leave me. I would be very happy with that if we somehow crossed over, and it would be a very Disney thing to do, that you've kind of got Agatha, you kind of follow her story along, and then it drops in at the end vampires or monsters or werewolves or something. It just opens up that supernatural side of Marvel.
Man-Thing gets her out of there because it can transport. So I mean, what if they landed on the Witch's Road waiting for that to happen? And then, because the Werewolf by Night's almost like a familiar for the witches because he's a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
He fits in with that storyline. Then you've got Man-Thing, who's going to basically get them all out of there and transport them to wherever they're going, the MCU.
Awesome.
That could be a cool way of doing it.
Bring Elsa Bloodstone back.
Yeah.
We need more Elsa Bloodstone. I just want to see her with her two guns. I just want to see her with a trench coat and 2 guns, just like in the comic books. But it is exciting. I'm very excited for it, and I know nothing about it, which is the best way to go into a Marvel TV show, I think.
Yeah, it is. Because they're gonna make it different from the comics, because they've always said there's no point redoing the comic book because then everyone knows the story. So it's gonna be something that we've never had before. Let's play.
And in the comic book, she's an older lady, isn't she?
She's
not
she's an old lady.
Whereas obviously in MCU, she's much younger, much more attractive. Whereas in the comic book, she is like a stereotypical kind of old witch, you know. But yeah, okay. We might even see Scarlet Witch come back somehow, because obviously we don't know what her real status is. We don't know, like, is she fully dead? Is she somewhere else? Like, she's just kind of gone, isn't she, after Doctor Strange? So yeah, maybe we even get Scarlet Witch.
What if even Doctor Strange rocks up, because he's a sorcerer, he can walk on the road. What if
That'd
he
be
just rocks up?
That'd be very cool.
As hell.
Yeah, he's just there chilling. Like,
yeah.
So,
there was so many announcements to get through. So I mean, let's move along from Agatha, because we are just spitballing at this point ideas. But no, there were tons of Disney movies announced as well, weren't there? Tons of Disney movies. I mean, finally got a trailer for the Weird Snow White movie.
I'm not angry. I'm not as angry as
mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all? Clearly you, my dear.
Yeah. Is this a joke question? Like, you know, yeah, that's one thing. But then the silhouette that you see of the kind of old hag version does look very in keeping. You don't really see the dwarfs, do you? They've not really shown them up.
There's a reason for that.
I'm hoping it's going to be a Sonic situation where they actually go for like full CGI and make them just like the cartoon, so that there's no one can complain and kick off.
And just like that, Jacob was cancelled. Literally, Disney were damned if they do and damned if they didn't with that one. If they'd have hired dwarf actors, that'd have been done for disabledism. If they didn't hire them, they'd have done for ableism. It was going to go down badly either way. But it's a story that's plagued, man. You can't. It's going to be a hard one to do. No. But yeah, like you say, they have gone down the CGI route. They've gone down that route. There are people playing them. I think it's going to be a bit like the Oompa Loompa thing from Willy Wonka's movie. You know, from the new Wonka. I think it's going to be like that, where it's a full. No, I don't say full size actor. That's terrible.
And just like that,
SuperSorrell's now gone as well. It's an able-bodied actor playing the role of the Seven Dwarfs.
It, like you say, there was no easy way to navigate this, which taking it out of context, which is a shame, because it's one of the original Disney movies. It's like, it's something that was right there at the beginning, and for it to be so difficult to produce as a movie, because we haven't had a Snow White movie. Like, we've had so many kind of various different versions, haven't we? Like Snow White and the Huntsman and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas we haven't had just a classic Snow White story. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I wasn't angry at the trailer. I was kind of like, okay, like, color me intrigued. Like, we'll see. One
thing I was intrigued about was Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
The idea of that. So it's the toys are up against children's devices this time round.
Yeah.
So like screens and phones and tablets. Which is true.
Which I found
very realistic.
Yeah, I found it a real. My kids love toys naturally. Like, there's always been toys in my house, but there are a lot of children now that don't have that imaginative play that kids of an older generation did have. And I think it's really interesting for the Toy Story brand to approach that and to deal with that, because in all of the other Toy Stories, you don't see a phone, you don't see an iPad or a tablet, do you? You just see the toys and their story. But yeah, I think it's an interesting one. There is an army of buzzes as well. Let's be honest, there's still an army of buzzes. But no, I'm intrigued. I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out.
So from what I've read as well, it sounds like, because did you notice that they didn't announce Tom Hanks? Did you notice that?
Yeah, they didn't.
His name's not in the title. I wonder whether it's his brother doing. I wonder if Woody's only in it for a section of the movie, and they're using Woody's brother, because I know he does a lot of the, Tom Hanks' brother does a lot of Jim Hanks does a lot of the voiceover work. Yeah. So I wonder if he's not going to be in it for too long, so they'll just use that.
Yeah. Well, he literally he does everything, doesn't he? Bar Woody's appearances in live action or in movies and the shorts and stuff, like he does all the merchandise, all of the rides, like, or anything else that Woody speaks on is Tom Hanks's brother. Tom Hanks famously in an interview said that basically his brother has a career based on being Woody's voice. But I also hope that Woody's not in it for a long time, because he kind of got his ending, didn't he? And
that's what I was going to say. He kind of, in the last film, that was his movie. So I feel like this should be Buzz's finale now.
Yeah.
So far, there's only 2 cast members listed for this so far. Tim Allen as Buzz and Blake Clark as Slinky. There's only 2 cast members billed.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like even Jesse's not listed.
No. But for a fan of Toy Story since the beginning, it feels like it's on borrowed time, because it's got past that trilogy, that doomed trilogy. You know, the 4th one was actually quite good, and it was kind of okay. Yeah, they've done something new. They've kind of taken it to another level. I don't want it to plateau. I don't want it to.
They should have stuck to shorts. They should have stuck to shorts.
The shorts are brilliant. The shorts are brilliant.
Like the Halloween special one, the Christmas special one. They're my favorites.
Yeah. I like the dinosaur one, the Dino Land, when they, and the reason being that I love that one so much is because as a kid, it was that you go to your friend's house and they have that completely different setup of completely different toys, and you take an action figure or something, and then all of a sudden your Boba Fett is them fighting off the dinosaurs from like your mate's collection. Like, and I just thought that was such a good way of them telling that kind of story in that one. But I've got hope that it'll be a good film, Toy Story 5, but I'm hoping they don't ruin what they did with Woody's ending and Woody's send off.
Definitely.
So make it a Buzz film. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you on that
one. Inside Out, we got a notification of a TV series that's set in between the first and second film, called Dream Studios.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And essentially it's the film production company inside Riley, I want to say.
Yeah, so basically when you dream at night, this is the like Universal Pictures in your brain, or Disney Studios in your head, making the movies that you dream.
Yeah.
So that's basically the idea of it. So I think that's a cool concept, to be fair.
It's a very cool concept. I hope it's got legs to do a full series and not kind of not.
Well, they've already said it's nothing to do with what we've seen before. So none of the characters we've had before will cross over, because they're in the brain of Riley. They're controlling her emotions. This is a completely different section of the brain with different characters. So I'm intrigued by that. I like the concept, the fact that I was really hoping they weren't going to lean too much into sadness and joy. We've already had that.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see something else now.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that.
What about Frozen 5? Well, it's going to be 5 by the time it ends. So Frozen 3 is split into 2 films, basically.
Yes. Frozen 4 then.
Yeah, Frozen 4. I jumped out.
I was going to say Frozen 5. I was like, hang on, we skipped ahead.
Frozen 5, come on. So 3 and 4 are coming out. Basically, Frozen 3 is going to be so epic that it needs 2 films to finish it off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're going to take it. Like, I felt that Frozen.
Didn't we make her a god in the last film? Didn't she basically become a deity?
Yeah, I thought that Frozen 2 was a stretch, but I enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of okay. You've taken this to another level and kind of rewritten a lot of what we knew and introduced us to completely different things. But I'm not sure where it's going to go from there, unless they're met with a new threat or something. I don't know. But my
parents are secretly alive all these years on this island. Let's go save them, Elsa.
Don't. That's what I was really. When I saw it, I was like, parents still alive.
She's on a desert island, and now the sun is stopping her powers from working. Oh no!
Yeah.
Elsa's now dehydrating, and Olaf's now a friggin' sandman instead of a snowman, and you know it's coming.
Yeah. Or there's like
plausible.
an alternate universe version of Elsa where it's heat and not ice, and like you say, Olaf is made of like sand and not snow, and they have to fight off against them. I don't know. I don't mind the Frozen films. Like my kids kind of grew up on them. Like they're good fun. I don't want them to see. I don't. We come from a generation where you got your Disney film and that was it. And then if you were lucky, 10, 12 years later on VHS, you would get a follow-up that wasn't anywhere near as well animated, didn't have the same voices. And you kind of could take it or leave it. It's like, yeah, Return of Jafar doesn't exist. It doesn't, like, you know, it was. But then
I still know Jafar's song in that off by heart.
Oh, really?
That is one of them songs that will not leave my brain.
Yeah. See, for me, it was all the Lion King ones because my kids really love Lion King, and then we started watching the other ones, and then there was prequels, and then there was the Lion Guard, and we were like, wow, this Lion King universe is so huge. There's so much to it. But I really enjoyed like the Timon and Pumbaa film. Like, really enjoyed it.
And now we can nicely slide into, they are making a prequel now to Lion King, and that was announced, and trailers for that.
Yeah.
Where basically Scar is in it and stuff like that as a kid.
Yeah, and it's Mufasa, isn't it? It's the story of Mufasa as a kid, which I think it could work. It's not really a story that's been told. That's why I'm intrigued by it.
It looks like it sounds, from what I've looked, because obviously Timon and Pumbaa are in the trailer, so I think it's going to be Rafiki telling the story to Simba of his father. And then you're going to get stupid things like Timon and Pumbaa going, and then we came in and charged at the hyenas, and you'll get, and there's no Pumbaa. I think it's going to be like that kind of humour. That's how I see it going. Just because they're in it, there's got to be something weird, and there's going to be, you know, like when you used to watch the old cartoons.
Yeah.
Timon and Pumbaa were really over the top. It's got to be like that, isn't it?
Shelley said, I think the Frozen franchise is thawing a little now. Womp, 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 womp.
Frozen was a perfect storm, if you will, when it first came out, because of the fact that New York and half of the world was under snow. There was that big Beast from the East, or whatever it was called, the snowbag, that big storm. That hit just as Frozen hit cinemas.
Yeah.
And literally New York, the East Coast of America, and all of Britain was under snow. And I remember going to the cinema to see that movie, and it was treacherous to get there, but we went.
Yeah.
Because it was opening day, and I go see every Disney movie on opening day. And I remember seeing it, and like all the kids were posting photos of the Elsa character from the video game at the time. He put the characters on the base. There were all the kids posting photos of Elsa in the snow doing that, and it was massive because of that snowstorm.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mufasa film.
Yeah,
it's one of them films. I really hope it's good, but we didn't need it. It wasn't something that I was desperate for. Like, yeah.
What about Tron Ares? Feels a little too late.
Yeah, again, not bothered.
Nah, skip.
Really not bothered.
But I tell you what did really catch my attention: Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
That honestly did get me excited, because that's the first Star Wars thing that's made me go, ooh.
Yeah.
Because it felt like Goonies in space.
100%. 100%. And what I like is that it's showing us the universe outside of
Jedi's.
The Skywalker kind of family. You know, it's, you know, there is a huge universe and species and all these kind of things that are there that exist outside of this family. So let's see something else. And it's really cool to see characters that you can kind of almost relate to and kind of go, okay, well, these people are right down here. They're not the royal family. They're right down here, and this is their adventure. And it felt, for me, there was also, it was kind of reminiscent of the Cal Kestis games, where you played as somebody that was right outside of it all, but then gets really involved in it all. And I think that's what's going to happen here, is that they're going to find themselves in an adventure that they never expected to be in, and we're going to meet some big characters. But yeah, the trailer was a very well put together trailer.
It's what I'm liking about it is set in the same time period as Mandalorian.
So
it's not in the past. It's not in the old trailer. It's bang up to date, and it's being made by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy. It's been made by the modern Star Wars people as well,
which is what we want.
That's what you want, and especially Favreau and Filoni are part of it. So I'm not sure if it's ever going to tie into anything, but it's cool the fact that they're giving us this coming of age story in space, basically. So it does have that sort of like Goonies, and it has that kind of like old school 80s movie feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really intrigued by this one. But we do know there is going to be a Force user in it because Jude Law's playing that character.
Yep. Well, they say to him at the end, don't they? Like, you're a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of has that air of mystery, though, because it's not like they're walking past a million Jedis, or it felt very much like a, wow, you're this story that we talk about. So, it'll be interesting.
My favorite thing on the casting is Jaleel White has been cast in an undisclosed role.
Who?
So he's an actor. He's been around a lot. He's been on a lot of different programs on Netflix and Boston Legal, and he's a TV actor. But it's the fact that they've listed him as undisclosed role. It's like he's the villain.
Oh,
he's
right, yeah,
the bad guy. Every time they do that, don't they? When they do like, and we've got this person playing a undisclosed Force user, Sith.
Yep. Okay,
they do that every time. They always reveal it. But so I'm loving the idea because I mean Nick Frost is playing a droid in it, so I'm intrigued to see his voice coming out of a droid.
Awesome.
And the first episode has been written by Christopher Ford and Jon Favreau together. Nice. And Bryce Dallas Howard has directed it. So I mean, she's obviously the director that's done Ahsoka and stuff like that.
Yeah, she did a handful. She's done a handful of episodes now across the Star Wars franchise.
Yep. So there's some good people attached to this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got hope.
Yeah, they're massive. Me too. I'm excited for it. I talked to a friend today actually about like all the kind of Marvel properties and Star Wars properties and stuff, and I said that like my opinion when it comes to these is I'm excited for anything that's coming out. I'm excited for it because we live in this age where we're getting thing after thing. And think about Star Wars as a franchise. We had 3 old films before we had the prequels. Yeah. And then after the prequels, we still waited years and years and years before we had anything else. But now we're at the stage where we're getting a full TV show about a bunch of kids that steal a ship. Like it's brilliant that we have this expanded universe. And you know what? If you don't enjoy it, you don't watch it again. It doesn't make any difference to your Star Wars experience. But we're in a position where they're giving us these things. Like, you know, I remember back in the day when the idea of like a Yoda film was just pipe dreams. It was just kind of like, yeah, they'll never do like a standalone film based on Yoda. But then we had like 12 series of animated shows that bridge the gap for Anakin. Like we're living in a good age. So yeah, bring it on. And if it's not good, then I won't watch it again and it won't bother me.
Yeah, there's a recently a new Tales of the Jedi has been listed as well, hasn't it? Have you seen that?
Yeah. I haven't read too much about it. I just saw that it had been listed.
Yes, Baylan Skoll is going to have is going to have a role in it, which is cool. The young Baylan Skoll and Kanan, the young Kanan.
Hang on 2 seconds.
So I'm intrigued by that.
I'm still here. Oh,
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by like a story for young Kanan. Because obviously we saw a bit of that in a couple of things now. Obviously in Bad Batch and
he is a character that they need to not lose. I think he's one that they need to maintain and they need to kind of bring him back without bringing him back.
There's an amazing story, a novel called A New Dawn, which is about how Hera and he met. And I would love them to make that into an animated adventure. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
That's something that, you know, like me as a Star Wars fan, I don't know how they met. I just take it as gospel that they're a couple, you know.
Because the thing is, we know they had a romantic attachment, but we never truly saw it in Rebels. But obviously, they have a son later down the line, so
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like they did have. I'd love to explore that a bit more. You know what I mean? Like how they got together, and you know what I mean. That'd be a cool storyline to do.
Was that Ahsoka that we saw the
kid? Yeah, we saw
it was, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I just think that he is definitely a character that we need to see more of.
Don't worry, we're gonna definitely see the Rebels reunited in live action. You can just because obviously we got Zeb Orrelios was shown at D23 in the new Mandalorian sort of snippets. They showed him in the Mandalorian's cockpit, which he's got his old ship back. Have you noticed that?
Yep.
He's got the Razor Crest back. So him and Grogu have been busy.
Well, what I thought was really interesting as well is that it's now been rebranded as Mandalorian and Grogu. So this isn't Mandalorian season 3. This is Mandalorian and Grogu series 1, essentially.
Well, it's a movie, isn't it? Mandalorian Grogu, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know the ending when we last saw Din Djarin?
Yep.
And we saw him sat outside what we assumed was a little house.
Yep.
What if that was the hull for the new Razor Crest? And he's slowly been building it with Grogu. He's been slowly fixing up a ship, and he's based it on his old one. That'd be very cool to see. Like, we think it's his little house, and it's the hull of the ship, and then he slowly builds the wings. And
that'd be interesting. So, do you think we're going to get
a long cylinder shape, isn't it?
Do you think we're going to get a full Rebels reunion in that movie?
I don't know how many movies they're going to do to finish off the franchise, but there's no way that Filoni is going to come full circle with Ahsoka and everything without reuniting Ezra and Sabine and Ahsoka and Hera and Zeb. And obviously then the idea being that Ezra was trained by Kanan, so he's going to train Kanan's kid. Yeah. That's how I see it. He's going to help Sabine.
And they have to get Kanan in as like a Force ghost or something, just so that we need that lineup.
We need that. We need that on the big screen. I think they'll do it because it's fan service, and their fans have been crying for that. Yeah. So they're saving that for a big screen moment, aren't they?
Yeah. Unless they spin off, unless they kind of give us all these characters in other properties, and then they give us like a Rebels live action. But like as a series outside of the Rebels TV show. So before Kanan dies, we kind of get something. Or he didn't die. I don't know, he did die, didn't he? There's no way of getting that. No. And it was an emotional kind of scene as well, and that kind of stuff. But they could kind of go back to just before that and give us, because the thing with Rebels is each episode was like them going on a mission, and you could give us a live action movie that took place just before that final kind of episode.
I feel that this is what Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Sith is now for, because it seems funny that they've not announced any new animated projects other than those now. So I think instead of doing a full season of The Bad Batch, we'll get like a 4-part miniseries rather than a full 20-odd episode thing. Because it does. There's always those filler episodes that trail on a bit that people moan about, and that's just wasted animation at the end of the day. So I think they'll do more of these television series things where it's like Tales of the Jedi. This story is about Ahsoka and Sabine. You know what I mean? And they can just jump in at some point in the timeline, any point they want, and make a storyline. That'd be the way to keep it alive. But no, I was thinking a live action Rebels set during the Mandalorian timeline of them reuniting and trying to take back the world from Thrawn. Because there's no way that Thrawn is the big bad guy and the Bad Batch and the Rebels aren't going to get back together because they were his main adversary.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant, is that we'll get something live action of Rebels, but I meant before what we're currently in. But if they do it in the real time what they are, then we're not going to get Kanan back.
We're not going to get Kanan in live action, and we're not going to get Kanan in unless it's a animated episode. I don't think we'll get live action Kanan.
I think we will. I think they're going to have to. I think, but it'll be a Force ghost, or it'll be something like that, so that we can just have those live action Rebels on screen together. Because it almost seems like a wasted opportunity to kind of get all but one of them in live action, and then not give us that fan service of seeing them all together.
For some reason, I just can't see it. I don't know why. I think the idea is Kanan standing for Kanan as his son at this point.
Yeah. Unless we flash forward a little bit and he's that bit older and kind of looks a little bit like his dad, and it's kind of like, you got Kanan's son standing alongside his old crewmates.
Yeah. Because interestingly, we are getting very close now in the timeline to Rey and stuff as well, and we know she's got a future film coming out, and Grogu would live long enough to see her because he would.
Are we getting close to the Rey?
Yeah, we're getting very well. You got to think Carrie Fisher and that married at the end of the Return of the Jedi. Mandalorian is set after Return of the Jedi. They had a kid, and he's only 17, 18. Rey's only about 17, 18, or meant to be 17, 18 in that film.
Okay, yeah. So
there's only 18 years between Return. Well, say 20 years between Return of the Jedi and the sequels.
Yeah,
because we're already seeing the build of the remnant of the old Empire becoming the First Order, aren't we? We're slowly seeing that with Thrawn. I think Thrawn's going to be the people that probably how they become the First Order will be because of Thrawn. I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
solidify him in the Star Wars canon as the big bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right there. I just kind of want to see a new big bad as well. I want to be introduced to somebody that I don't know that is new and that holds that.
Just imagine if you hear the words Admiral Thrawn, the leader, or Admiral Thrawn of the First Order. Oh, that's what I mean. It's like, chills, man. Because then he's gone from being a low bid general, right, being up to the admiral, grand admiral, and then he's become like the leader of the frigging thingy, and that's when he gets obviously Snoke and that starts appearing and takes him out or whatever, or Mando takes him out.
That would be good, but we're gonna have to obviously kill him off before.
Yeah. Or before the sequels, yeah.
So it's got to happen.
And that's how Snoke gets in so easily, and the Empire. Or literally just have the Emperor kill him off. You thought I was gone.
Yeah.
Unlimited power.
That's literally it. Like if all else fails, just roll the Emperor out and just.
Well, they did it at the end of Clone Wars with Darth Maul, because Darth Maul became this big kingpin bad guy, and literally they just brought him in like a savage and killed his Savage and Maul very easily, and turned Maul into a Weasley mess.
Yeah, just like that. It's
he just walked in and destroyed them.
Yeah. I think it's safe to talk about it now because we're kind of far enough past it. But the after credit scene in the Acolyte that we saw Yoda.
Wouldn't know.
So we literally see the back of Yoda's head. I can't remember her name, but she's like the big main Jedi in it. And she goes to talk to Yoda, and the kind of doors open. She walks in, and Yoda's sat there, but it's like an older looking Yoda. Like it's not like a young Yoda. It's a bit older than where you'd put him, which obviously leads into a nice big time gap between all the stuff that we've had with Yoda and the Acolyte to give us something else Yoda in between somehow. So they're kind of keeping that door open.
There is another.
Yeah. I also want to see Grogu's kind of origin. I want to see where he comes from, and
we're gonna get that. Dave Filoni, that's a secret Dave Filoni knows, and only Dave Filoni knows probably.
Yeah, and
he'll have planned it out. There's no way he's flying by the seat of his pants. He will know exactly where that kid's from. You
do not create a character like Grogu to introduce into the new Star Wars franchise without knowing where he came from.
Yeah.
They're just fleshing it out. They're building on it. And I think if he didn't take off as well as he did, we would have found out the origin a lot earlier. But because he's so popular, you can kind of flesh that out and ignore that for a little while. So, yeah. Yeah. What else did we get?
I'm
trying to think now. Lilo, I like Lilo and Stitch live action.
Yeah. The Stitch looks good.
Yeah, I
don't think we needed Lilo and Stitch the movie live though. That's my thing. I would have preferred a Stitch movie, like a Stitch live action thing. Do you know I Stitch a lot like Deadpool is a fourth wall breaking character, because when they made Stitch, do you remember what they did? Disney, how they marketed it.
Remind me.
They made a load of short cartoons of like Stitch crawling on the roof of the Beauty and the Beast ballroom scene, and they made out that he's always been there. And like he goes through to see Cinderella. Yeah. He goes to like Peter Pan lands on the clock and it turns to 3:15 and all that, and Stitch bounces on the other side of it and knocks him off. And they did all that kind of stuff. And then in the parks, they had that stupid Stitch Escapes ride where at the end of it you see him go to Orlando and the tower and Cinderella, our princess here, and all that stuff. And then when the sequel came out, they covered the entire Disney World castle in bog roll toilet paper. The TP'd it, and wrote Stitch's name all over it in graffiti. So I would have loved a more of a Stitch Escapes movie and have it set in the real world. Literally have a tongue-in-cheek movie where Stitch escapes the Disney studio, Animaniac style, and he's running amok around the world.
That would have been cool.
That would have been hilarious. It's like Garfield almost, tongue-in-cheek live-action cat in it. You know what I mean? Like you need that for Stitch. I think a Lilo and Stitch movie live action is just silly. It's too close to Moana.
Yeah.
It's going to be, but kids today will compare them, is what I'm thinking.
I think the thing is that I always see him as like a really new Disney character, but he's been around for a long time.
Oh, a very long time.
Like it's
that came out during the Disney
20
Renaissance.
years.
More than that, it came out during the Disney Renaissance.
Did he?
Yeah, I think you're thinking it's a lot newer than what it is. Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002.
No, it did. And shall I tell you why? Because it was close to September 11th, because they had to redo some of the scenes, didn't they? Because there originally was scenes of them in the aeroplane kind of flying through the city, and they had to reanimate to obviously not conflict with the huge catastrophe, like a huge thing that was going on in the world at the time. So yeah, you're looking at 24 years, 23 years.
They also, it was one of the first, like one of the Disney movies at the time, because at the time, like you say, and the sequels were very few and far between. So at the time Stitch came out, the film came out in 2002, but then the sequel came out, Stitch the movie, in 2003, and then Stitch 2 came out in 2005, and then we had 2006 with Leroy and Stitch. So I mean, his sequels just came out thick and fast.
But if you even look at the latest sequel, 2006 is still a long time ago. So there will be whole generations of children that won't necessarily know the story and won't know his origins and that kind of stuff. So I think they're probably aiming it at that. They're aiming it at kind of trying to make it marketable to newer generations. And I think they could have done that with just a Stitch movie, but I think that's what they're probably aiming to tap into, make him a new lovable character again.
Yeah, Disney loves Stitch because of the merchandising he sells. If you remember Disney stores, they're always full of Stitch plushies.
Oh,
and I think he's a bigger deal as well in Asia because he's kawaii, as they call it. So he fits that whole Stitch's alien race fits into the Japanese and Chinese cultures and that very easily. Because in the parks overseas use him a lot more.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah, he's not one of them ones that I hear being talked about by casual fans and casual.
Oh, he's still meetable in the parks. Every year I've gone, he's there doing something mental. You can meet him in his Elvis suit this year for the Halloween.
Oh really? But my kids aren't fans of Lilo and Stitch because they just didn't pick up on it. So it's one of them ones where we have watched them and they've enjoyed them, but it's not a character that they go back to. So I think a live action film is going to tap into a new demographic.
I think we were a little bit older by the time that came out. Like I know Lilo and Stitch was a big thing for my brother who's 8 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So like when Stitch came out, that was his movie. So same with like Brother Bear and films like that. We were kind of past it at that point. Me and you with the generation of Little Mermaid, Hercules, Aladdin, and we consider those the cream of the crop of the early Disney.
They're your classics.
That's what I mean. They were the ones we grew up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, every kid's going to have their own just set of generation of movies.
Yeah. And I think we live in an age now where like the CGI live action movies are very good. You've only got to look at things like the Pikachu movie, like they're very believable. Yeah. And I think it will do very well either way.
Oh, it'll definitely do well. It'll definitely do well either way. It's that Stitch look, the model they've used, because we used it as part of our thing for the Geek of the week. And you know what? It does look good, the little animation. It's very clever.
And just think of the merchandise. Like you've now got live action Stitch. So everything they have, they can now push out again with a live action face on it instead. Yeah. And he looks just as cool as he did in animated. What else was there? What other things were
there? Ironheart. There was kind of a few updates on that. Nothing major.
No. Was it Brave New World, Captain America, where they dropped the trailer? Was that Comic-Con?
They dropped the trailer at Comic-Con, but they showed that famous bit of the Red Hulk coming out from behind the podium, didn't they? When he sort of like hulked out from behind the white podium.
Yep.
They showed that at D23.
And Harrison Ford obviously was made a Disney legend. Was that the term they've given it?
The legend ceremony.
Steve Ditko as well was crowned. And what was her name? I always forget her name from Black Panther. But the three of them, it will come to me in a sec. But the three of them were made Disney legends, and Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't know how I feel about it. Like, they're really hyping up Captain America, and I really enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier. I like the Sam Wilson story arc. I like where they're going with it, but they're really hyping it, and it's now got such huge shoes to fill following Deadpool.
Yeah.
That I'm really hoping it's okay.
So just to run a few more of the names of who were introduced into the 2024 honorees, they included Colleen Atwood, Angelina Bassett, Martha Blandin, James Cameron, Jamie Lee Curtis, Miley Cyrus, Steve Ditko, Harrison Ford, Frank Oz as well, and John Williams.
Yes. So all names that you kind of, like, in all fairness, like Miley Cyrus, you can't deny she's got a huge Disney.
I personally, as a Disney Channel guy I grew up with Disney Channel. Probably watched it longer than I should have done, to be honest. But Disney Channel for me, I think either Raven Seymour or Hilary Duff should have got it first. They were the original Disney Channel stars.
Yeah, fair enough. I do.
Miley's just got that. Miley's got that worldwide recognition. That's the difference.
Yeah. And that's why people like Harrison Ford were giving it, because I wouldn't class Harrison Ford as a Disney legend. Like, he's Indiana Jones, he's Han Solo, like he's now Thunderbolt Ross, like, you know, but they weren't original Disney things. They're properties that Disney have acquired. So I wouldn't have classed him as a Disney legend above other people. But you pull the names, don't you?
Yeah. He's never he's tying now with I forgot her name, the lady that played Chun-Li.
Yeah.
She was the voice of Mulan. She was in Star Wars and she was in Marvel. Harrison Ford was in Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and Marvel.
Yeah.
So they're the only people that have ever crossed over that much. So if Harrison Ford can score himself a role in a Disney movie, he will become he would be the one person that's got his tick in every box.
Wow.
Of all the companies.
Wow. Sure, he's got to. His agent must be going, right, we need to get you in a Disney movie.
Of course.
Just to tick that box. Just to get.
Every time I hear Harrison Ford's voice, though, I just picture Mark Hamill doing it, because it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Good. He's just so good at doing it, isn't he?
He's just really good at voices. But I think that was about it. I think that covers pretty much everything that we got. Just trying to think whether there was anything else that stood out.
One thing that got me really a little bit excited was the fact, that the Disney Cruise Lines, it's one thing I could never afford to do, but I'd love to do at some point in my life. But the Disney Cruise Lines do like Marvel Day at Sea and Pirates Day at Sea and Frozen at Sea. They've just introduced the Haunted Mansion at Sea for Halloween.
Have they?
So, I mean, the Haunted Cruise Ship. That sounds amazing.
Well, there you go.
Basically, there's like a 4-night cruise that'll go around the Bahamas, and it'll be decked out with cobwebs. All the cast members will be in the Haunted Mansion garbs, and that would be amazing.
Well, if there's ever your sign to get onto one of those cruises, this is now it. Yeah. That was exciting. That would be really exciting. Disney cruises have always kind of eluded me, because I like the idea of them, but it's kind of like, if I'm gonna shell out for a Disney holiday, it's going to be at a park. I don't want to be confined to a boat.
I regretted not doing it when it was docked in the UK and it was a non-cruising vacation. Did you see those?
No.
So
when
COVID was kind of COVID was stirring its head again, wasn't it? So they couldn't sail, and basically you could book 2 nights on the ship, but it didn't go anywhere. All the entertainment that were open. That would have been a cool way of doing it. Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to go to America. You'd just go for Southampton.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did a Disney cruise. Oh, where did you go? Nowhere. Just literally, I slept on a boat. That was it. I think with my fear of the sea as well, I think that would have ticked all the boxes, because we wouldn't sink. So it's like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. It's basically like playing at a beach. It's fine. But yeah. Okay. And obviously park wise, there was loads of kind of announcements. We touched on a few of them at the beginning. Disneyland Paris, Disneyland Park is having a lot of expansions as well, isn't it? They're really building up what they're offering there. And there's loads of new stuff going in there, from like Arendale's going in, and like Frozen Land, if you like. As well as various other bits. They're creating a big lake, aren't they, there as well? So it's going to be pimped up over time.
Yeah, there's a lot of announcements for the parks this year, so too many to really go through. But there were some good ones. Like, I mean, the Villains Land alone at Magic Kingdom in Florida is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what they do with that. The Monsters Inc. land coming to Hollywood Studios. We're finally going to get that roller coaster we've been dying to get for years with the doors. That's
going to be really fun. Really, really fun.
Avengers Campus at Disneyland as well has come in finally.
Yep.
And the big one was, you know, in Animal Kingdom where they had the old dinosaur ride.
Yeah.
That's basically becoming Indiana Jones and Encanto.
Yeah. That's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a really interesting time in a couple of years to see it all come up. There wasn't really much announced for Paris too much. They're getting a Lion King attraction. So basically, Paris never really had the Splash Mountain ride. That's not there.
No.
But they're building one. But it's going to be Lion King themed because they don't really have Frontierland. It's more Adventureland based. So they're going to have a Lion King log flume ride, which is basically Splash Mountain. It's going to be the Tiana Bayou version, but just with Lion King animatronics.
Yeah, which is fine. I like variety.
As long as it's not when you go to the top of the hill and you hear Scar's voice go, "Long live the king," as you go flying out.
Oh yeah, you know that's going to happen. You know that's going to happen. You are going to be.
He's at top like that. Long live the king.
Yeah. You know that's going to happen. That 100% is going to be what happens.
It's going to be one of those songs from the film. You know the ones where it's like in the gorge, where it's like there's all that chanting going on. And it's all stressful.
That's definitely going to happen. Oh no, it'd be exciting. I'm going to have to get back to Paris soon, I think. I just really want to see Deadpool and Wolverine there. I really want to see Deadpool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. But I think that rounds it out about not quite nicely for this show, being D23. Next week, we're going to get back into toys. We're going to talk toys. We've got another top 10 coming up. Don't want to spill the beans just yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun, this particular top 10, so do not miss it. Yeah, thank you very much for everyone that's been watching. We didn't get to as many comments as we wanted to because we've just been talking. It's been one of them shows where we're just spilling everything out. But if you are watching on catch up, then of course, like Mr. Sorrell says, make sure you put in the chat hashtag catch up crew. And if you check the description of the videos, you can see all of our various different social media and stuff like that. So do go over there, give us a follow, a message, a like, a subscribe, whatever it is that you want to do. But we do appreciate you tuning in. This has been our D23 episode. So next week, episode 166 will be very heavily toy related, and we have got a few guests lined up for future episodes as well, which is going to be fun. Really looking forward to getting them on, but we don't want to announce who until we've confirmed 100% what days they're coming. But keep an eye on various different social medias and we'll put the information out there. I think that's about it.
You overemphasized that who a little bit there. It's not that who, it's a different who. Because you went, we'll tell you who. I was like, that was not a hint in any way, shape, or form.
No, that was not an Easter egg.
Because I've got images of Shelley as someone piping up, going, "Oh, I wonder who it could be," in capital.
Yeah, no,
definitely not that who.
That was not meant as a hint. What I mean is that we will tell you who it's going to be.
Stop doing that. What? I think it's your accent. I think it's the southern. We'll tell you who that is at a later date. Who it could be.
We'll tell you who it's going to be. We'll tell you who it's going to be. We'll tell you who it's going to be. We will tell you which guest we're having on very soon. We have got some good guests lined up. I'm very excited. A couple of guests that we've had previous coming back to talk about some new stuff and some new guests as well, which is very exciting. But do drop us a message. Jump over to Instagram. Drop either me or Mr. SuperSorrell a message if you've got any ideas for future shows or anything that you want to see us kind of debunk or put apart or anything like that. We've got some really exciting top 10s coming up, and not the top 10s that you would necessarily expect somebody on a live stream to do. So yeah, so there we go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you. We'll catch you next week. Till then, keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek. www.geekweekinreview.co.uk